Hey guys, on today's video we're going to be replacing the rear monoshock on this 2008 Kawasaki Brute Force 650. So let me show you. This is the shock that I had to end up getting. This is a original OEM used shock. I purchased this one because it said that this was a direct replacement for this, but as you can see they are way different in size, and yeah, so it wouldn't give me the ride height that I need. And so I went on eBay, purchased this. It came with a 1-inch lift. I don't particularly need the 1-inch lift, but anyway, we're going to let me just show you what's going on, and we'll replace that, and I'll get back to the back side here and show you what's going on. Okay, so here we are at the back side of this, and I'll show you the reason why I need to replace this shock. And I found out when I was up riding trails after I'd purchased this thing, but yeah, I'm putting like maybe 10 pounds of pressure on that, maybe 20, and this will not haul an elk out with the shock pushing down that far. So let me get you situated, and I'll show you the first steps that we need to take to get this shock off. Alright, so you can see down in here, this bolt right here, I've already loosened it. It's in here. You have to loosen this bolt and take it off, and then I'll show you the other one up top. So your seat's right here, and up underneath the seat you have a lever. You have to pull this lever, push back, and then forward, and you can take your seat off. Then you see we have here your electronics cluster with your CDI, or your CDI, your rollover switch, and a couple of other electronics in here that you need to remove. Now, a lot of people online, they'll say you have to take these back plastics off. I'm going to show you a way that you don't have to take off those plastics, and you can effectively remove the top bolt of the shock without having to do all of that extra work. As you can see, I've got a lot of stuff mounted here. And so the first thing we're going to do is we've got these screws right here, and this one plastic screw that you have to take off to get to the bolt right here, and that just allows you to move the plastics out of the way. So let's get these out of the way. And we'll just set these in my rack right here so they don't get lost. We'll set our screwdriver out of the way. And then what you want to do is you want to take these off of their mounts. Let me get you a close-up in there. Maybe you can see they're just little plastic tabs. And you take these off of their plastic tabs. This one slides in this way, this one drops down, and then this one also drops down. And you'll have to take those completely off of their mounts to get this out of the way. Lift this plastic out of the way, and then you can pull that one out of the way. And then the same with this on this side. You can move those wires out of the way. Move this wire out of the way from the back and lift this out of the way like so. And then now you can see the top shock. Let me get you in there. If I get you in close, the top of the shock mount is right there. And so what you'll need to get in there is a 17 millimeter, I believe. Yeah, 17 millimeter and a 3/4 inch wrench. I believe you can get into it with a millimeter on this side right here. On that bolt. And then on this bolt. But what you want to do before that is you want to jack up the machine so you can, without it falling down when you move the shock, you can have the body of it lifted up. So let me get my jack and we'll get there. Alright, so we've got the machine supported with the jack over here, and now we can come in and break these. What I do is I come in through the tire well right here, and this allows you to get on that bolt with this. If you don't remove this screw on the plastics, you can't get on the bolt. And so that's why that's important. And I just use this one to hold this while I am loosening it. And like I said, I've already loosened these, so it's pretty easy to get them out right now. But that's effectively how you do it. And then I just stick these in that little grip hole, and then I just come back in and get my wrench out of the way, and then we'll come in here and we'll take a hammer and a punch and get that out. And then I think if we try and maybe let this down just a tad, we can, nope, we need to bring her up a little bit. There we go. Down just a little bit. And you just play with your jack a little bit to get it so it's leveled out, and that's how you get the bolt out. Then you effectively do the same thing down here. And you can punch that out. Once you got enough room on that side, get a little bit of a and now you're clear. You have to use a little bit of a pry bar to get that out. Make sure you keep all of your hardware together. So now we're free on that shock. Okay, so now you should be able to, yep, there we go. And we will measure our shock and make sure it's the same one and go from there. All right, let's measure these shocks. This is the one that I just got, and this is the one, or this is the one I just got, and this is the one that I took off, and it's matching up. And K15910 SA2. This is an SA1, so it may be a little bit different, but I believe it's going to be good. So we got to mount the bottom, put it up into place so we can play around with the jack to line the hole up on the top to make it a easier install. So let's go down to the bottom and I'll show you from there. All right, so we've let this completely down, and we're gonna drop it until we can get the bolt in. See if we can coax it. Okay, so we're right here on this. Got the bolt partial way in. And we're just gonna take this we gotta jack her up a little bit, it looks like, to get it level. Then we can get it the rest of the way in. You just pay attention to that bolt while I'm jacking it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Alright. Looks like we're going in. And we're in. Get our nut. Pop it on the other side here, like so. And we're just gonna hand tighten this so we can test the amount of deflection we have in the back before I tighten it all the way up. So get that so where it's hand tight and you can't tighten it anymore with your hand. Okay, perfect. I'll get you down for the deflection test. We're gonna let this down all the way so there's no oh yeah, that sits up way higher with that 1-inch lift. That's quite weird. Look how much deflection there's just in that. I mean, it's way better than the other one, but well, I mean, with that 1-inch lift, I think we're gonna be fine. And I can always tense up the shock. I don't have very many threads to do that, so I think we're fine right there. We're going to tighten it up and then I'll bring it back to show you how to reassemble. All right, so we're back with reassembly now. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that this wire here gets put into the groove, and it can be difficult while trying to get it back in that thing, but it went way smoother that time. So, because I've had this off a couple of times to try and get that. All right, that's what you want. Looks like there used to be a screw here too, so. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna shove this on. Then we come in with this one, and this one's got a push on. You gotta line up just perfect, and if that other one's on, it doesn't allow you to do such. And then you move these two wires to the back. These two wires that run this way, you have to move them to the back to slide this on properly. Then you take your wire and you tuck this wire down and that wire down, and that connection goes down. Then it's time to reinstall our screws. Start with the one on your plastic so they line up, because I found you can manipulate these two, but if you manipulate those two, this one sometimes does not go on properly. So this one in, get it started, and we'll put the other one in. There we go. Just screw these back in, just like so. Alright, so now we've got this shock here that we need to return, and this shock left over that we're going to try and find somebody to rebuild that one, so we have a spare. And that's going to be it for the preserves today. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.